Hey guys, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther, and I actually opened a book that I haven't opened up in a while. And so I want to dive into the star card, what it represents, and Aquarius. So the star card is a major arcana, and I certainly have studied the Hermetic deck very deeply. That is a never-ending study. And so I just want to talk about what the star represents and deeply tie that in with Aquarian. So this is going to be a really cool, interesting video. So the star represents the daughter of the firmament. In the sequence of the tarot, the star follows the tower. After the lightning has struck and the false structures have crumbled, after the chaos has revealed what cannot endure, there comes a moment of quiet clarity. This moment is the star. The star is called the daughter of the firmament and the dweller between the waters, which literally there's so much like the underwater panther. It comes from a Native American myth, and it is a being that can travel between the underworld, all worlds actually. And that is literally what Aquarian represents as well. That is where my Mercury is, 11th house, my thinking and communication. And my favorite, I'm going to get to this at the end. My favorite numbers my entire life have been 17 and 21. Now, 21 was my basketball number and 17 was my volleyball number. So I've held on to that my entire life. It's just amazing when you study into these things and then like numbers and meanings smack you in the face. It's like such an amazing thing. It really truly is. I don't believe in coincidences. Yeah, it's really cool. So the star is called the daughter of the firmament and the dweller between the waters, literally underwater panther. These titles tell us that she is a child of the heavens and a messenger between worlds. She embodies the cosmic principle of renewal, the truth that after collapse, life flows again, harmony is restored, and light returns. Astrologically, the star is linked to Aquarius, the water bearer. Yet here the water is not literal, but the waters of consciousness, wisdom, and inspiration. The figure pours them endlessly into both the land and the river, nourishing the visible and invisible worlds alike. In Kabbalah, she walks the 28th path of Sadi, the fishhook, which draws the soul upward, not by force of ego, but by surrender to the higher self. Psychologically, the star represents the reintegration of opposites, like literally what I'm doing here with the masculine and feminine series. Intellect and intuition, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious. She is not the fire of conquest, but the cool light of restoration. She teaches that hope is not naive optimism, but disciplined vision, the kind of hope that rebuilds with truth after the false has been torn away. To call her the daughter of the firmament is to recognize her as both child of the infinite heavens and servant of the earth below. She stands between realms, pouring out life for both, reminding us that we too are bridges. Bridging science with spirituality has been my slogan for my businesses. Wow. Microcosms of the macrocosm, carrying light from above into matter and offering matter's lessons back to the stars. So the scene after the tower, we're talking about the tarot sequence. So the star follows the tower in the tarot sequence, and the tower false structures collapse under the strike of lightning. Archetypically, this is the fall of the ego's illusions, the shattering of rigid systems, and the exposure of truths that cannot be ignored. Psychologically, it's Jung's Nigretto, the dark night of the soul, where the personality dissolves into chaos. Yet immediately after this breakdown comes the star. Its appearance signals that chaos is not the end, but the clearing of ground for renewal. It represents the return of order through alignment with higher patterns rather than human constructs. Where the tower tears down, the star rebuilds through illumination. This is important in Kabbalah because the 28th path of Zadi connects Netzach, victory, the emotional, creative self, to Yesod, foundation, the subconscious and imaginative self. So we're connecting the emotional, creative self to the foundational, subconscious and imaginative self. I think I might have tripped on my cord here. Oh, no, maybe not. I don't know why that just changed lighting. That was kind of wild. All right, so after the tower has undone the ego's false defenses, this path draws the psyche upwards, reconnecting feeling with imagination and vision with vitality. The woman by the waters. So we're talking about the star card. There is a woman with two vessels and she's pouring them out, and she is standing by a river. So the woman kneeling by the waters is more than a gentle figure of hope. She embodies the reconciliation of polarity. The two vessels she pours from are not only symbolic of abundance, they are the archetypal currents of Chokmah, wisdom, the divine masculine, and Binah, understanding the divine feminine. In the Qabalistic Tree of Life, these are the primordial father and mother, the two pillars that generate creation through polarity. When separated, they create imbalance. When united, they generate life and harmony. The star's act of pouring into both earth and water shows the reintegration of these primal forces. Her nakedness on the card also carries esoteric weight. In the tarot sequence, clothing often symbolizes persona, identity, or protective mask. Her nudity after the tower implies the stripping away of mask and roles, leaving the soul uncovered and authentic. Thinking the introverted feeling child, the childlike authenticity, the daughter, the child of the firmament, of the waters, of the, the stream of consciousness of individual and collective. This is not necessarily vulnerability as weakness, but as truth. The two trees. So we're still talking about the star card. Behind her are two unseen archetypes, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In biblical myth, humanity's exile from Eden occurred because of knowledge without integration, polarity without unity. In esoteric thought, the tree of life represents unity with the divine, while the tree of knowledge represents polarity, the realm of opposites. Humanity has lived between them ever since, caught between transcendence and duality. The star serves as a bridge between these two modes. It represents the reintegration of polarity back into harmony. For the Kabbalist, this path is the restoration of balance between inner unity, the self, and outer polarity, the world. For the Jungian, it is individuation, the union of opposites within the psyche. The fish hook of Zadi. The Hebrew letter Zadi means fish hook. The metaphor is precise. Meditation is not something the ego accomplishes by effort, but rather the higher self hooks the lower self and draws it upward. Now, this is really interesting. I do believe that, was it Buddha I think it was Buddha was an INTJ. I seriously got into yoga and meditation, like seriously hardcore. I love studying all this stuff. So on the Tree of Life, the path of Zadi rises from Yesod, the subconscious imagination and sexuality, towards Nezak, creativity, love, and victory. This is a process of sublimation, transforming instinct and fantasy into vision and art. In Jungian terms, this resembles active imagination, engaging with unconscious images until they draw the personality into dialogue with the self. It is not the ego seizing control, but the psyche itself pulling consciousness deeper into integration. The Kabbalistic texts state, "We do not meditate, we are meditated." This phrase emphasizes surrender. Meditation is not escape, but participation in a larger current of consciousness. I still currently to this day practice meditation almost daily. So, the Aquarian currents. Astrologically, the star corresponds with Aquarius, the water bearer. This sign is associated with universal love, vision, and collective renewal. But Aquarius has two rulers. Saturn, ancient ruler, represents structure, discipline, boundaries, and karma. And Uranus, the modern ruler, sudden freedom, revolution, and breaking patterns. The star integrates both. After the tower's destruction, Uranus, the star offers disciplined vision through Saturn to rebuild society and the self. It is hope grounded in responsibility, not mere optimism. In the language of alchemy, this is the stage of coagulation, fixing the volatile. After the volatility of the tower, the star symbolizes the new form. Now we're going to get into what Venus represents, and this is kind of triggering. I was raised Catholic, so, it is what it is. I've re-educated myself in like almost every archetype there is. So just don't be too triggered. Jeez. All right, so the star is linked to Venus. Venus, the planet of Venus, known as the morning and evening star. Venus carries archetypes of beauty, love, and harmony. To the soul, she is medicine. She reminds us that aesthetics, compassion, and balance are not indulgences, but essential for wholeness. Some traditions also connect this card to the figure of Lucifer, literally light bearer. So we're talking about light bearer. Here, Lucifer is not the fallen demon of later theology, but the primordial archetype of illumination, the spark of divine light in matter. The controversial association points to the card's theme of illumination after destruction, the shining of truth where darkness once reigned. In Jungian terms, this represents integration of the shadow. What has been demonized, like Lucifer in Venusian desire, beauty, and eros, must be reinterpreted as part of wholeness, not rejected as evil. The work of the star. The practical task of the star is reintegration. It calls us to allow intellect and intuition, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, to flow together as the woman's vessels do. The courage it demands is honesty and authenticity, the willingness to be naked after the tower falls. The discipline it requires is patience, pouring out into the world even when results seem invisible. The humility it instills is surrender, allowing the higher self to hook and draw us upward rather than forcing spiritual growth by ego. The gift of the star. The teachings of the path of the Zadi can be summarized. Dualities are not enemies but mirrors. Destruction is followed by renewal. Meditation is not escape but union. Hope is not naivete but wisdom itself. In Kabbalistic texts, the 28th path is called the natural intelligence. through which the nature of every existing thing beneath the sun is consummated and perfected. This means that the star does not only illuminate the inner psyche, it harmonizes the entire field of creation. Think collective, macro, and micro. For the seeker, this card is both a promise and a practice. The promise, after every fall, there is a rising. The practice, continual reintegration of opposites until unity is restored. Thus, beneath the vault of the night sky, guided by the star, we remember that after exile there is return, after ruin there is light, and after chaos there is the quiet restoration of harmony. All right, so the star card in the path of Aquarius. So the star in the tarot sequence, why it matters to Aquarius. For an Aquarius person, the star is the soul's mirror. In the tarot, the star comes after the Tower, a card of collapse, destruction of false structures, and the shattering of illusions. Aquarius, as a sign, often experiences life this way. Moments where everything familiar crumbles, forcing them to detach, reassess, and realign. Where others might despair after such collapse, Aquarius is wired for the star's vision, rebuilding with truth, pouring wisdom back into the world, and carrying the waters of consciousness for the collective. Thus, the star card is not just hope for Aquarius, it is their archetypal destiny. To be the water bearer who serves as a bridge between higher vision and earthly renewal. So life after the Tower. Accept collapse as part of the path. The teaching here. The tower falls so the star can shine. Destruction is not failure, but initiation. Life practice. When life breaks down, relationships end, careers collapse, old beliefs die, see it as the tower moment. Instead of clinging, breathe into the space that has opened. Journal or meditate with the question, what truth is this breakdown revealing? What was false in my old structure? Reframe crisis as portals, not punishments. The titles of the star: Daughter of the Firmament, Dweller Between the Waters. These esoteric titles describe Aquarius perfectly. Daughter of the Firmament, child of the heavens yet living in the world. Aquarius often feels alien and not from here, as if carrying the sky within them. It is certainly an outer body experience daily. Dweller between the waters, the one who bridges the invisible waters of the psyche with the visible waters of life. Aquarius lives between inner vision and external systems, always seeking to reconcile them. For an Aquarius person, these titles point to the life task of embodying bridgehood between heaven and earth, principle and practice, self and humanity. Be the woman or man by the waters. Balance giving and receiving. Teaching. The vessels of wisdom and understanding pour equally into land and water. Masculine and feminine are reconciled in flow. Life practice. Balance logic and intuition in decisions. For example, when choosing a career step, look at both salary stability and joy and resonance with logic and intuition. Balance, action, and rest. Productivity without restoration burns out. Rest without action stagnates. Balance giving and receiving. Pour into others, but also allow yourself to receive care and nourishment. The path of the Sadi in Kabbalah. In the Tree of Life, the star corresponds to the 28th path, the Hebrew letter Sadi or fishhook. It connects foundation, the subconscious, dreams, sexuality, and imagination with victory, creativity, love, and harmony. This means Aquarian's soul path involves lifting unconscious material into conscious vision and then transmuting it into service for humanity. For Aquarian individuals, your dreams, intuitions, and even your unconscious impulses are not random. They are material to be lifted and transformed into higher vision. You are hooked by higher consciousness, often suddenly through flashes of intuition or disruptive events. Aquarius does not meditate to escape. Aquarius is meditated, drawn upward by the higher self into collective vision. Walk between the two trees. Integrate polarity. Teaching, the tree of life represents unity, and the tree of knowledge, polarity of good and evil. They must be integrated. Dualities are not enemies, but mirrors. Life practice. In conflict, resist the urge to polarize. I am right, you are wrong. Or I know and you have no idea. Ask instead, what truth might each side carry? How do they complement each other? Practice holding paradox, joy and grief, strength and vulnerability, order and freedom. Integration means both and, not either or. Embrace your shadow as part of your wholeness instead of rejecting it. Let yourself be hooked. Surrender in meditation. Teaching. Zadi is the fish hook. We do not meditate, we are meditated. The higher self draws us upward. Think about the Kundalini energy in yoga. That is the drawing upward, the Kundalini into higher consciousness. Meditation deals a lot with the chi force, the life energy of the Kundalini. And so that is really what we are focusing on when we're meditating. Just kind of take that into consideration if you're into that. Life practice. Create a daily stillness practice. Instead of trying to achieve meditation, simply sit and allow. Notice thoughts, let them pass, and trust the deeper current. Meditation is so important for Aquarians because we're very heady. We're an air sign. We're intellectuals. And so there's just so much going on here. It is an outer body experience. It truly, truly, truly is. We're just such in our thoughts and imagination and wanting to pull out all of this stuff that we have in our heads and bring it into reality and turn it into a practical system. I've been this way my entire freaking life. And certainly grounding yourself through meditation, pulling yourself back into your body, feeling your body, grounding yourself through nature walks. It's like seriously important. It must be a daily practice. I meditate every single day. I've been doing this for 20 years. So yes, it's extremely important for Aquarians. Think about extroverted sensing inferior. Life practice. Create a daily stillness practice. And then try creative imagination. Visualize a river, a star, or a divine figure, and let images arise spontaneously. Allow the unconscious to catch you. So that's kind of like when you're trying to remember something and you can't, and then you let go of trying, and then all of a sudden you have sparks of genius. Journal what arises in dreams. Certainly keep a dream journal. They are Yezod Foundation, speaking, waiting to be lifted into vision. And then we have Saturn and Uranus, the double rulership and the path of balance. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. This double rulership maps directly onto the star's path. Saturn is the Nezat side, brings structure, law, responsibility. For Aquarian people, this means you must learn to discipline your vision to create order out of flashes of insight. I suggest journaling. I suggest writing books. I have just studied for so long in my life that I literally have so many journals. Like, I have journals on journals on journals. I've been studying like a mad woman most of my life, and I journaled a lot. I love writing. And then I literally started doing the whole notes on my phone. I've got probably 4,000 notes on my phone. And then I finally organized that into books. So, such an amazing, don't ever lose your dream, write it down. Don't ever lose your ideas. Like, Aquarians are so good at sticky notes. Like, I mean, write it down somewhere. All of this will make sense eventually. Uranus represents disruption, revolution, flashes of genius. For Aquarius people, this is your lightning inspiration, the shock that hooks you upward. Your challenge. I've been sitting Indian style for a while. I need to adjust here. Sorry. All right. So your challenge. Balance Saturn and Uranus. Too much Saturn equals rigid ideology, cold detachment. Too much Uranus equals chaos, instability, rebellion for its own sake. The star's teaching is to pour both currents together like the woman pouring from her vessels until discipline and liberation form a harmonious river. Flow with the Aquarian current, vision plus discipline. Teaching. Aquarius integrates Saturn, discipline, and Uranus awakening. Hope is vision grounded in responsibility. Life practice. Dream boldly with Uranus, but ground those dreams in structure Saturn. For example, if you feel called to healing work, start visioning your role and build daily study and practice. Engage in collective service. Aquarius is about humanity, not just self. Volunteer, teach, or build projects that uplift the community. Balance innovation with tradition. Embrace the new, but honor the structures that hold wisdom. The psychological path for Aquarius. Living the star as an Aquarius means embodying these lessons. Integration of opposites. You are meant to reconcile paradox. Reason and intuition, tradition and revolution, individuality and universality. Service to the collective. The water bearer pours for others. Your visions and insights are not just personal, they are meant to serve humanity. The visionary outsider. You may feel like an outsider. That's why I have all these astronaut. I have an astronaut over here. I love the astronaut imagery. I just love it because like an astronaut definitely encompasses what an Aquarian feels like on a daily basis. Like, I feel like I'm floating in outer space. I'm in it, but not of it. Like, you can't touch me and I can fly wherever I want to. I love being in my head. Um, the rocket ship, just everything to do with the astral. I love nautical stuff. I definitely realize that Aquarians also love the nautical. If you're not into the astrological, you're most likely into the nautical. It's quite humorous. So yeah, you feel like the outsider standing apart from society. That distance gives you perspective, but the star calls you to pour what you see back into the collective. Hope is discipline. Your role is to embody hope, not as naive optimism, but as the kind of clear vision that rebuilds structures on truth after illusions have fallen. Embrace the light bearer. Integrate shadow and beauty. Teaching. Venus as light bearers reminds us that beauty, desire, and illumination are not sinful. They are divine medicine. Life practice. Allow yourself to create beauty, art, music, space, or ritual. Beauty is soul nourishment. Transform shadow traits like pride, ambition, into service. Instead of suppressing them, ask, how can this energy illuminate, not dominate? Practice seeing light in unexpected places, even in endings, flaws, or so-called fallen aspects of yourself. So, living the star as Aquarius. Honor your tower moments. When things collapse, resist despair. Remember that this is your initiation. Destruction clears the ground for your vision. Practice being hooked. Balance Saturn and Uranus daily. Pour your waters through teaching, creating, writing, inventing, and building systems that serve others. The star's power is in giving. If you hoard your wisdom, it stagnates. And stay authentic with your introverted feeling while building systems with your extroverted thinking. Ensure what you create isn't just efficient, but aligned with values and human dignity. Practice the work of the star daily. Daily integration. Teaching. The star calls for naked honesty, patience in pouring, and humility in surrender. Naked honesty. Commit to radical authenticity in relationships. Be truthful about your needs and feelings, even when uncomfortable. Patience and pouring. Dedicate yourself to slow, steady practices, daily journaling, caring for family, and tending a garden. Trust that small, consistent acts accumulate into rivers of wholeness. Humility and surrender. Release control where ego strains to dominate. Whisper daily, I am willing to be guided. The gift for Aquarius. When you live the star's path, you embody what the Kabbalah calls natural intelligence. The intelligence that harmonizes the nature of every existing thing beneath the sun. For Aquarius, this means you become the architect, building enduring frameworks. You become the strategist, seeing the long arc of truth. You become the humanitarian, pouring your vision back into the world. And you integrate it all in the star's hope, disciplined, visionary, and universal. Your gift is to be the light bearer after collapse, the one who stands between the waters, bridging opposites, pouring consciousness into the world so humanity can remember its wholeness. So, in summary, for an Aquarius, the star is not abstract, it's the soul's blueprint. It teaches that after every tower in your life, you're called to rise as the water bearer, reconciling opposites, balancing Saturn and Uranus, and pouring out wisdom for the collective. You are the daughter or son of the firmament, dweller between the waters, and your life path is to embody renewal, integration, and universal vision. So when you stop, or when you embody the star, you begin to live in alignment. And practically, this means you stop fighting dualities and start weaving them. You stop fearing collapse and start seeing renewal in it. You stop treating meditation as effort and start experiencing it as grace. You stop clinging to false hope and start embodying wise, disciplined vision. The gift is a life of coherence, a life where inner rhythms mirror cosmic rhythms, a life that radiates quiet hope, steady patience, and a light that others feel healed by. All right, so now we are going to get into the Aquarius, the astrological and psychological teaching of the Aquarius. Oh gosh, I need to adjust, sorry. And I need to take a drink. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. I'm bumping my microphone. I'm literally like sitting in my desk on top of a pillow. It's ridiculous. Okay. So, astrological dimension of Aquarius. Symbol is the water bearer. Modality is fixed, which represents enduring, stabilizing, and establishing. So the modality in astrology is fixed, which is endurance, stabilization, and stabilizing. And then psychologically, we have the finisher. They certainly love to finish what they started, and they will definitely do whatever they can to finish what they are working on. Element is air, which represents intellect, communication, and networks. And then we have rulership. I think I hammered that with Saturn and Uranus. So what it means in astrology. Aquarius is often misunderstood as a water sign because of the water bear imagery. But it is air, the element of thought, communication, and vision. The water the bear pours is not literal water, but the water of living consciousness. Knowledge, truth, and inspiration poured out for the collective. Archetypically, the bearer is not the water itself, but the one who carries, channels, and distributes it. Teaching, Aquarius does not hoard knowledge or love, it pours it out for all of humanity. It is the archetype of service to the collective, of carrying light across the threshold of darkness. Saturn's role grounds Aquarius. It gives the sign seriousness, responsibility, and the ability to commit to principles. This is why Aquarius can seem detached, principled, and uncompromising. It is a law-oriented, but toward higher universal law, not just personal rules. Uranus's role electrifies Aquarius. It disrupts, awakens, and brings flashes of genius. This is why Aquarians are linked to progress, rebellion, and revolution. Aquarius is a sign that bridges structure and freedom. It holds Saturn's order in one hand and Uranus's lightning in the other. This dual rulership gives Aquarius both the capacity to establish systems of truth and to dismantle them when they become rigid. This archetype is two-faced in one body, containing both Saturn, the ancient ruler, order, discipline, structure, responsibility, and karmic law. Uranus, the modern ruler, awakening, lightning, flash, insight, rebellion, liberation, and shock. Psychological archetype. Aquarius is the tension of opposites. It is the voice within us that says, honor the law, but also break it if it has become false. Respect tradition, but be ready to revolutionize it. Build systems that endure, but make them flexible enough to evolve. Aquarius is the paradox of the archetype rebel, the disciplined visionary, and the guardian who liberates. Aquarius as fixed air, the steadfast revolutionary. All right, I'm really going to have to adjust. Oh my gracious. I tore my right hip in track my junior year in high school, and I've got to be careful. I've had many body damages. I broke my tailbone, tore every joint on my right side of my body through archery, running, you name it. I have done some things in my life. Alrighty, so Aquarius is fixed air, the steadfast visionary. Fixed equals enduring, loyal, and stabilizing. Air, intellect, ideas, networks, and higher mind. Archetypically, Aquarius is the steadfast vision, the mind that fixes itself on universal principles of truth, justice, and humanity. This archetype is loyal not to individuals, not even to personal desires, but to principles. It is devoted to the idea of truth, fairness, and collective well-being. At its best, this is noble and humanitarian. At its shadow, it can become ideological rigidity, clinging to principles while forgetting people. The psychological archetype, the outsider and the visionary. In Jungian terms, Aquarius embodies the archetype of the visionary and seer, but also the outsider. The visionary receives flashes of truth, channels wisdom, sees beyond the present moment, brings the future into the now. The outsider feels alienated from the herd, observes humanity from the edges, often experiences exile or misunderstanding. This duality means Aquarian archetypes often live between worlds, inside and outside society, loyal to humanity, but never fully belonging. Psychological dimension of Aquarius. Aquarius is not just quirky and rebellious, as pop astrology paints it. Psychologically, it carries deep archetypal lessons about how consciousness evolves. The water bearer as the self that serves the collective. Number one, the Aquarian pours out wisdom not for self glorification, but for humanity. Psychologically, this points to the impulse to transcend ego and serve something larger: truth, humanity, or the future. Jung might frame this as the archetype of the self rising beyond the ego, moving toward individuation that benefits not only the person, but the community. Saturn versus Uranus in the psyche. Saturn in Aquarius, the inner lawgiver, consciousness, discipline, the ability to contain wild energy within meaningful structure. Uranus in Aquarius, the liberator within, the voice that says this form is outdated, the lightning flash of new insight, the rebellious urge to awaken. Psychologically, an Aquarian or the Aquarian within us struggles to reconcile these. How do I stay true to principle with Saturn while honoring sudden inspiration and freedom with Uranus? Aquarius as fixed air, steadfast vision. Unlike Gemini, mutable air, scattered ideas, or Libra, cardinal air, relational balance, Aquarius is fixed. Psychologically, this means once the Aquarian mind locks onto a vision of truth or justice, it rarely lets go. There is tremendous loyalty to ideals, sometimes to the point of extreme stubbornness. This fixation is not just rigidity, it's devotion to a principle larger than the self. The shadows of the Aquarius. Every archetype has shadow expressions. For Aquarius, we have cold detachment, valuing principles over people and systems over soul in the shadow side. Ideological rigidity, clinging to a utopian vision while ignoring nuance. Alienation, feeling like an outsider, disconnected from the heart. These shadows appear when the balance between Saturn and Uranus is lost. Too much Saturn equals oppression and conformity. Too much Uranus equals chaos and disruption without integration. The integrated Aquarian psyche. At its healthiest, Aquarius embodies the star's light, visionary, hopeful, disciplined, and universal. It becomes a bridge between opposites, between personal and collective, masculine and feminine, order and freedom. The integrated Aquarian is both the architect and the revolutionary, both the keeper of wisdom and the bringer of new truth. The star Aquarius in psychological renewal. The Tarot Stars card is the purest image of Aquarian energy, a calm after the storm, pouring forth light and consciousness. Psychologically, this maps to after the Tower, crisis, ego collapse, Aquarius provides the vision for reconstruction. The Vessels, reconciliation of polarity, logic and intuition, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious. The fishhook of Zadi, the higher self pulling the ego into integration. An Aquarian form of enlightenment through surrender. Saturn and Uranus together, the gift of structured freedom, disciplined innovation, and hopeful renewal. The esoteric archetype, the star path of Zadi. So it represents restoration, illumination, and reintegration. All right, so here we go. Integrated archetype, the light bearer. At its highest expression, the Aquarian archetype is the light bearer. It channels wisdom without hoarding it. It pours healing waters without demanding control. It builds structures that serve freedom, not domination. It balances Saturn's responsibility with Uranus's liberation. It teaches that hope is not a passive wish, but a disciplined act of visioning and building a future rooted in truth. This is why in esoteric texts, Aquarian is linked to the natural intelligence, the principle that harmonizes the nature of every existing thing under the sun. It is the archetype of coherence where opposites are reconciled into wholeness. All right, so the last thing, I wanted to get into the number 17 and 21 here at the end. I just cannot believe, I have this book, the Qabalistic Tarot, and I got this book, 12, 13, 14, 12 years ago, I think. I think I got this 12 years ago, actually. And I mean, I've read through it. Of course I have, but it's been quite a while, and I just wanted to read about the Kabbalah, really. I actually listened to Madonna. She had a long-formed interview with, I can't remember who the guy is. He's got dark hair and blue eyes, but someone had her on his podcast, and she was talking a lot about the Kabbalah. And I realized I think it maybe started in the Jewish tradition. I don't know. I study every type of, esoteric knowledge, really. I don't really care about religion. I don't look at it that way. I'm just spiritual. And she was talking a lot about it. So I actually pulled it out and flipped to the star to read more about Aquarius. And my two favorite freaking numbers, I guess I didn't read that part or something, popped up. Those literally have been my favorite numbers my entire life. I literally have them in all my passwords. Like, I've had that number in all my passwords for since I've ever had a password on the internet. It's so wild to me. It's so wild to me. So yeah, I'm gonna get into that here in just a second. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to get into the star, the path of Zadi, and the mystery of 17 and 21. This might not be interesting to you, but I'm going to say it anyways because I'm like, oh my God, this is a thing for me. This is a thing for me. All right, so hopefully my video is still going. Okay. All right, so the number 17. The star itself. So it's the tarot key, number 17. Qabalistic meaning. In the Golden Dawn, which I do study, and I know that people think the tarot is like the devil work, and I don't believe in necessarily future forecasting with astrology or tarot. I see it more as an archetypal thing to look into, to connect dots with personality types, with archetypes, with storytelling. It's a really good way to help your imagination and storytelling and recognizing symbols and keeping in touch with the mythology and all of that stuff. So that's kind of how I look at tarot. And I'm very connected with, I love animals. So my Native American side has always had me believe in spirit animals. I've never known what that is my entire life. And I have always seen that, like, animals that come to me, I see that as signs. Like my first spirit animals, the frog, the salamander, the dragonfly. I mean, all of those are very, very symbolic of transformation, deep, deep transformation. Aquarians are all about deep transformation with the Pluto in fall. We're always working on self-development. And so that's just how I kind of see it. Just wanted to put this in there because people get offended, and I mean, I really actually don't care, but that's just where I'm coming from. All right, so number 17, the star itself. So the tarot key, that's the where the number comes from. Qabalistic meaning, the Golden Dawn 17 reduces to 8, which represents strength. So it's also a little bit numerology. I mean, there's so much tied into the Hermetic tarot of the Golden Dawn. There's astrology, there's numerology, there's alchemy. I mean, it's it's just amazing system. It's such a deep system. I love deep systems and tearing them apart and putting them back together. I just do that for fun. So this connects these stars flowing luminous energy to the discipline of strength. Conscious control of Kundalini energy. That is what we work on when we do yoga and meditation. And Kundalini also represents sexual creative energy and life force. And supposedly, when you have your Kundalini awakening, you integrate your masculine and feminine. So, yeah, it's a thing. Esoteric teaching. The star isn't just a passive hope, it's the refinement and conscious channeling of energy. And I've definitely done Tai Chi with the guru of all freaking gurus, Paul Chek. He is like one of my favorite freaking human beings on the planet of Earth right now. He is very holistic. He gets into shamanism. He is also top dog when it comes to like fitness, strength building. He is in every single realm and a master in every single realm. I think he's a Virgo, actually, if I remember correctly. I haven't looked in a long time. But that book back there, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy up here, that's Paul Chek's work. And that's actually my mind body activation performance business is literally built upon his work with the Chek Institute. And I can't even remember why went down this. What was I talking about? I can't remember what I was talking about. Kundalini. I don't know. I just went side tangent. Tai Chi, the Kundalini, the life force. Yes, God. I literally traveled to California with my daughter. I wanted to meet him in my freaking lifetime. That was a goal. So I went through the what do you call that? The lifestyle coach. That's his like ground level certification, and the lifestyle coach. So I took that certification, and then I literally flew to California with my daughter. She was like 6 or 7 at the time. And he held a spirit animal class. And so we talked about spirit animals. Me and my daughter got to meet the guru of all gurus, in my opinion. I love saying that because I think it's hilarious. And we did Tai Chi with him outside, no shoes on, feet on the grass. And we were doing Tai Chi, and he was telling us to like go like this and feel it, the force. I felt it. I had never done Tai Chi in my life, and I had felt this energy, and it was so amazing. It was such an amazing experience. Like, it's real, like Kundalini and like Chi force energy. Like, I get into... This woman gave me this. She didn't want to, but there's a store nearby, and this was her only key card. She does a lot of like yoga. She did a lot of yoga classes, teaching yoga or whatever, holding yoga classes. And so I get into every system that there is. This is the chakra system. I get into the human design. I've studied everything and incorporated that into every single business that I have. So yes. This is just 1721, my favorite numbers. Esoteric teaching. The star isn't just passive hope. It's the refinement and conscious channeling of energy. This is why the woman is naked. She embodies raw, unfiltered truth, but also the strength to direct it. Aquarius lesson. For an Aquarius person, 17 symbolizes turning vision into disciplined hope. Your flashes of genius, Uranus, and your responsibility to truth, Saturn, only become real when consciously directed, stabilized, and lived through strength. So key line 17 equals vision plus strength. Hope must be disciplined to be real. All right, so now number 21. And this is dealing with the Kabbalah. They have like a system in here, life path. I mean, it gets insanely deep. I don't know. I whipped this out because of that like literal Madonna, she was talking a lot about it, and I had been in a play. I don't know if you can see this, but that's, Tree of Knowledge, Tree of Life. It's really deep, but yeah, she was talking about it. I actually was in a play with both my aunts. We had, I don't know if you've ever heard of Evita, but she was the star in Evita, and we did this huge musical, and we literally had to practice for like over a year, and then we did like 6 shows of Evita. It was so much fun, and Madonna. So like I've always kind of like been a fan, and it was really interesting to hear her say that the reason that she has survived, like Elvis has died, Michael Jackson, Prince, like there's so many like superstars, Elvis. There's so many superstars that have passed away, and she was saying that she was still alive because of her spiritual practice, and that spiritual practice and like true, real, she's so talented. Her career, her talent has a lot to do with combining her success. She's holding success. She has held success in a container and has been able to contain it because of her spiritual practices. I thought that was so amazing. That's why I pulled this book out, and that's why I'm like going down this path right now, and I just wanted to put this in my Aquarian series. Anyway, 21, the completion behind the star. Hidden connection. The star card contains 7 primary rays plus 14 secondary rays, which equals 21 total. This links the star to key 21, the universe, the world, the final card of the major arcana, symbolizing cosmic completion and wholeness. Qabalistic meaning 21 is the full circle of integration. It shows that the star is not an isolated symbol. It is a stepping stone that leads to the wholeness of the universe. This star card, man, I swear to you, it's so deep. You've got the tree of knowledge, the tree of life, and then the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And then you've got the universe. I mean, the massive amounts of information in this one card is insane, to be honest. So, esoteric teaching, the 21 rays shows that the star is a portal. It opens a path to universal harmony by reintegrating opposites. 2 trees, 2 vessels, 2 currents. The star teaches that after collapse, the tower, there is not just healing, but eventual union with the cosmos. Aquarius lesson. For Aquarius, 21 shows that your personal role as a visionary, strategist, or humanitarian is part of a larger cycle. You're not here just to be different. You're here to contribute your uniqueness towards universal harmony, the completion of the cosmic dance. Keyline 21 equals the star's promise fulfilled. Healing leads to wholeness. Individuality leads to universality. So we've got the marriage of 17 and 21. 17 with hope and strength is a discipline of becoming a vessel. 21, completion and wholeness, is the cosmic outcome of pouring that vision into the world. Together they tell the Aquarian path. First discipline the inner light, 17, then offer it to the world until it becomes universal harmony, 21. So practical synthesis. When an Aquarian person meditates on the star with the hidden fullness of the universe, they are aligning with their soul's path. At 17 strength, train yourself to channel insight responsibly. Hope isn't passive. It's an act of will. Aquarius must discipline its ideals. As 21 with the universe, remember you're the role in the whole. Your uniqueness, outsider role is not isolation, but contribution to the larger harmony. You got to be outside something in order to see it and look inside. But don't keep yourself on the outside. Share with the inside what you're seeing. In Kabbalah, this is exactly what the path of Zadi, the star, teaches: to lift the unconscious into harmony until natural intelligence perfects the whole beneath the sun. So, in summary, you are the vessel of vision called to discipline your light. You are also the bridge pouring that light into until it reunites with the whole. For an Aquarius person, these numbers describe your archetypal path to balance Saturn's law and Uranus's freedom, to integrate opposites and to offer your genius as service to humanity until the part becomes a whole. So yeah, this went over an hour. Anyways, I really seriously hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly definitely did. I don't know. I just had to put some things together, and my own mind is blown. So if you have any anything you want to comment, your own experiences, your own thoughts and feelings, certainly feel free. I hope that this ties in a lot for you and your personality. It's kind of nice to get away from the planets and cognitive functions in the way that I've structured this channel so far. It's kind of nice to, break away from that for a minute and have a little fun with it. So anyways, like and subscribe. Feel free to email, check out my ebooks. I have tons, and I will see you in the next video.